All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. I'm back. I'm back on Wrestling Revolution
Welcome
with
back.
Keaton. Wasn't planning on it, but I'm back. Yeah. So Keaton, we have a guest scheduled here today, and kind of rescheduled today, but we may or may not see him, right?
Yeah, hopefully we'll see him, but it's very unlikely. He's,
Yeah.
of course, someone with such a busy schedule. Obviously can't make it this time. He has a very busy schedule, and obviously wrestling goes first for him, so makes sense. And hopefully he'll be able to reschedule if he can't make this.
Yeah, so I mean this is what happens, when we go live, we can't control what happens and sometimes things come up and that's what happened in this situation. So but it's always fun to come on live and see everybody. I haven't been on your channel for a while now, in with our show because I've been busy moving and relocating. As you can see, I've got the NWF all started. I just haven't got the belts up yet. Got the NWF banner up though, but yeah, it's a work in progress. So yeah, so um, now if Wesley makes it, well, if he doesn't make it, you're obviously going to try to reschedule him for another day,
Hmm.
right? Another
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
And who's after Wesley? Then who's coming up next? Like who's going to be on the next
Uh,
show next?
it's one of the most experienced Titanic wrestlers. He's doing well for himself right now. Redmond, the suplexorcist.
And that's coming up on what day?
That's coming up tomorrow actually because we're doing one on Sunday and then he has a busy schedule as well, so we're doing another one the next day on Monday.
Oh, so you're doing one tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah, and you won't
Yeah,
be able to make that, I'm guessing.
yeah, I don't know if I'll make that one. It
Uh,
gets busy for during the week, as you know, for me. But then you got what's coming up in a week? Then I think you're coming on again in a week, or is it 2 weeks? I can't remember.
actually can't remember. Oh, it's next Sunday. I'm having on this. I can get the graphic in here. Like I'm having on Stevie Fee. Heard that.
Full farm, whatever, right? It's this one the same. Um, but how we get to this screen? Oh, I see. You're putting me in. Ah, I see.
Yeah,
Keaton's doing a little editing on the
so that'll be
fly.
good having him on as well. Stevie Fee.
Yeah, because that's right. Because they probably didn't hear me all that time. So yeah, because if
Yeah,
I'm not on the screen, they don't even hear me. So now they hear me. So yeah, what I was saying is on our last show we did on Forward, I
yeah.
pronounced it Stevie Faye, and
Stevie Fee.
yeah, and of course Ricky and Ben gave me a hard time, but you know, fee fi fo fum, right? It's tomato tomato, right? Stevie Faye, Stevie Fee. But no, I'm looking forward to seeing him. I've seen a lot of his matches because he's been wrestling for what, a year now,
Yeah, just a year,
roughly. Yeah.
and he's been very good lately. Only for wrestling for a year, he's made some very good experiences. He was voted the breakout star of LDN wrestling in just a year.
Wow.
Uh, Probably the breakout star of NIPW in my opinion as well. He's just incredible in the ring. He comes from a wrestling related family as well. He comes from a family. His uncle Dennis Miller, aka Damon Shondell, used to be a wrestler. He's one of my favorite wrestlers. I interviewed him before. He sadly passed away, but he was an absolutely incredible wrestler.
You said Dennis Miller,
Yeah, aka
not to
Damon
be
Shondell.
confused with the comedian Dennis Miller. I'm assuming,
No,
right?
no.
Yeah. This is a different Dennis Miller. Okay. Yeah. No, that's so. Yeah. I mean, and I know Ricky was saying that he's come a long ways in his first year, like surpassed him in matches and everything, and
He's
like
incredible in the ring.
yeah, yeah. So of course it doesn't take much to surpass Ricky in anything. I can't go on any show without trashing Ricky Henry. It's a so-called Canary Kid. I call him the Cowardly Kid. You know that, right, Keaton?
Yeah, I've
Because he
heard
is
that before.
he's a yellow belly, spineless coward, and I have to call him what he is. And even Ben agrees with me. Badass Ben Nelson, of course, I'm referring to. At least that's what I call him.
I think. Well, I think that you're being too over. I think that you're being too rude to the Canary Kid. The Canary Kid's one of NIPW's very best. I don't think the Northern Ireland fans are going to like that.
I know, I know, I know. I'm stepping on toes, ain't I? But that's okay. I don't have a problem with that. Hey, speaking of some of the comments, let's get some of these in here. I see Wrestling Insiders got a few. Hi, Keaton. I love your never give up attitude and positive outlook. Crusher, it's great to see you back. I hope you guys had a nice Christmas. Yes, we did. I had a great Christmas. And, I'm sure you did too as well, right, Keaton?
Yeah, I
Did you
had a great Christmas.
get some cool stuff
Yeah, well, I got
for
a
gifts?
replica belt of Cody Rhodes here. It's so cool. Like,
Oh, let's see
see,
that. Oh, that's
it's a
awesome.
proper belt. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. Like,
Yeah, that's like that thing looks heavy.
it is very heavy. I
Yeah.
didn't. I thought it was a belt when when I saw it wrapped up, but I didn't think it was anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, get another one to add to your wall back there in your collection.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's pretty cool. And then did you travel at all? Did you go to see anybody for Christmas or did you pretty much just stay home?
No, they came to. Well, we went to my uncle's house, so we did, and went there for a while, and then we came back
Okay.
home. Then we went there for a
Yeah.
Christmas dinner.
Yeah. That's good. Yep, and this, Christmas is the time of giving. A lot of
Mhm.
people. I I'm not the kind of person that even really wants gifts. I much rather give than receive. I've always kind of been that way, and so
Yeah, that's what Christmas is all about, I suppose.
yeah, it's like I don't. There's nothing I need from anybody. Um, I know that Canary. I give him a hard time, but he was. As we talked privately, he wanted my address because he wanted to send me something. But I don't look. I don't need anything. I'm fine. I've got enough stuff over the years. I've got all my NWF belts. What more do I need?
I know that's all you need.
Yeah. So Canary Kid, I'm sure he's one of Northern Ireland's favorites. But when I see a coward, I gotta call him a coward. I don't understand. I don't know where this coward streak comes from in him. It's not present with Ben, and it's certainly not present with John McCann. And by the way, Keaton, on our next forward show, we've got John McCann and Ben coming on again.
Oh, that'll be good. John McCann, a lot more experience now. I know before he was still very experienced, but right now, he's matured a lot in the ring and he's become a lot better in the ring. So it'll be great to have him on.
Yeah, he's come. They're going to come on next Friday on our show, which will be 10 p.m. Ireland time on the NWF channel, and we're going to have John and Ben on. We were trying to maybe get Mitch the Kid to join us, but he's got some prior commitments, so he just can't make it. But I
I loved
reached
that Mitch the
out,
Kid
and
interview. It was so good.
yeah, and we're looking. We're gonna, we're gonna get Mitch on again. I mean, he's always wanted to come on again, so it's just a matter of getting him when he can make it. So we'll get him on one of these days. And who knows? One of these days we may see Mitch the Kid versus Canary Kid, and I even proposed Mitch the Kid and Ben Nelson as a tag team with the two mullets.
Oh, that wouldn't be bad. the mullet, the mullet monsters, or
Yeah, the
no, needs
mullets.
to be more of a. Uh, I'll have to think of that name.
We'll have to maybe think of an '80s throwback name for him. But yeah, with that throwback look they both have.
Kind of like the Rockers.
Which, and by the way, did you see Ricky Henry put the fake wig on to try to look like he had a mullet on our show?
Oh yeah, yeah, I did see that actually.
I mean, he can make us laugh, right? He can certainly make us laugh. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to. It's funny. If I ever come out to Northern Ireland, I may just have to grab the mic and call him out, and we'll see if he has enough guts to come out face to face when I'm in his own backyard. That would be the
Well,
question, right?
if you ever came over to Northern Ireland, I'd watch my back. The Canary Kid's one of the fan favorites over here at NIPW, and no one really likes anyone talking bad about him.
Well, good. Then that's all the merrier. Look, I'm not. I don't, Ricky. I'm not in this for the fans. Do you think I don't care what Northern Ireland fans think, and the rest of them, and his little nephew and brother, and everybody else who likes to cheer for him and do that stupid canary dance? I will come out there and I will tell him exactly what needs to be told. And sometimes the truth it hurts, and he just needs to face the facts. So there's that. Oh, by the way, I should get, and I shouldn't. Okay, go ahead and respond, Keaton. I'm not going to cut you off like that. So, what do you say to that?
Well, I think that's all pretty true. You will be honest, you will tell the truth, but I also believe that you really should watch your back going to Northern Ireland professional wrestling. These fans are ruthless. They love the Canary Kid, and I'd watch my back behind his family and all as well. You know, the Canary Kid has such a following, not even just from his family, but from his friends. And I would watch my back trying to say these kind of things about the Canary Kid. I would, if I were you, I would not travel with the Northern Ireland to make a speech
You
like
know,
that.
I should travel to Northern Ireland. Okay. Well, that's fine. But Canary Kid has to face the facts, and reality will soon become reality. And if he, either he has the man enough to be who he is, or he will continue to be a coward. And I don't care what those fans think. I don't care what NIPW fans think. I don't care what the dojo thinks. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not in this for a popularity contest. So I can watch my back. And if anybody touches Crusher Crossen, well, they'll just get what the Canary Kid gets. So don't mess with the 5-timer.
And then we
Um,
have a
yeah, it
couple
would
more
be
comments coming in here, don't we?
yeah, we do. Let's see. I didn't get this other one in from Wrestling Insider. He says Dennis Miller's character Diamond Shondell was the funny man. He was a natural at comedy wrestling.
He truly was.
Yeah,
He only had one televised match. It was on World of Sport Wrestling, and the crowd loved him. Ken Walton, who's very hard to please. With his commentary, he'll be honest with you. He'll say what he thinks, and he absolutely loved Dennis Miller, aka Damon Shondell. Funny man in and outside of the ring. Lovely person to meet, interview him and all. Sadly, he's um not with us right now, but he's really good wrestler. He was a lovely man outside of the ring. So yeah, his character was the funny man. He actually was a natural at comedy wrestling. And
yeah,
Stevie Fee as well is doing very well for himself. Probably making his uncle proud.
sure.
Yeah, yeah.
And we have another person here. Jack Watson says hello.
Hello, Jack.
So that's just a viewer tuning in.
To see you again, Jack. Hello.
And then we have Mighty Molly. Mighty Molly says, I met a family in Smith's Toy Store today in the wrestling aisle. They told me they knew who Wrestling Revolution is and were planning on watching the show tonight. So how about that?
Good.
Wrestling
Awesome.
Revolution getting a reputation.
Yeah, I'm on to.
And then Mighty Molly follows up and says, what did Wesley say? Is he coming on? So they just want to know what's happening with Wesley. We haven't heard anything yet, have we?
No, I haven't heard anything. He
Yeah.
was nice enough. He says he gave us his deepest apologies, and he says if he was able to come on, he would be coming on 8:30. It's very unlikely that he will come on. Hopefully he will, but if not, we can reschedule. Not
Yeah.
too much of a big deal, I suppose.
Just have to reschedule that one if he doesn't end up making it on. But in the meantime, we can keep you entertained a little bit. We'll just see if he shows up. You know, Another thing with Canary though, Ricky, he was calling the NWF World Title a toy championship. And that didn't sit real well with NWF fans over here. They didn't like hearing that. Ricky's one to talk. He's got a title that's on an island that if you blink, you miss it. And he defends it within the schmucks, as he likes to say, of NIPW. You know, Look, if any title's a toy championship, it's that junior championship that he so rightfully likes to boast about how he was the longest reigning champion of that title. You know, so I suppose I'm not making any more fans by talking about the belt like that, am I?
No, you're not. And I'm an NIPW once every month. They do show once every month, and I'm not one to snitch, but you're the NIPW fans would not be happy if you came over here. Have a lot of people behind your back, so I'd watch my back if I were you if you came over there. There's a lot of Canary Kid fans.
Yeah, I suppose. I suppose there is, but that isn't going to stop me. See, unlike Canary, I'm not a coward. I'm not afraid. I don't care how the fans are behind that kid. He just needs to be taught what I like to call a lesson. And a good old wrestling lesson. In fact, it would be Ricky, or I'm not going to call you Ricky. Keaton, if me and Canary ever had a match, it would be what I like to call a North American whooping match. And I'm not talking about belts or anything like that. I'm talking about a good old fashioned butt kicking match, right? A North American whooping match is what Canary would get. And he needs to get that. His coach couldn't get, his coach did beat him, I guess, right? So in fact, Enlighten us. What happened with that match that he finally wanted? He wanted so desperately with his coach Nate Maddox. How did that match go?
Well, for over 2 months, Nate Maddox has not been accepting the challenge of the Canary Kid, and
Mm-hmm.
you could see why. Coach would not want to beat up his own trainee, and he thought, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. But every single time the Canary Kid, kept angering him, and he kept getting on his nerves. Nate Maddox had to accept the challenge, and once the Canary Kid tried to land that Canary Cutter, Nate Maddox switched into his own cutter in midair. It was a great move, but done by Nate Maddox. And the Canary Kid was taught a lesson after it.
Well, at least he beat him. But I'll tell you something. I still say, as his coach, he was ducking the match for a while, and he just wanted to take it easy on Canary as it is. And I don't know how hard he really went at him, even. But if Canary Kid ever faces Crusher Crossen, it's not going to be kid gloves with me. He's going to get the full 100% of Crusher Crossen. And you know something, Canary? Or Ricky? Or Keaton? Or whoever I'm talking with here? I can count in one hand how many times I've ever. This is something I just thought of. I just now, actually. That's how it is. I always think of things on the fly. I can count out of all the times, all the years I've wrestled, and all the time, 5-time champion, everything. I can count in one hand how many times I've been pinned. That's how much
How
I've
many times is that?
lost. I believe it's 7. 7 times I've been pinned. You know how many times I've submitted? 0. So Canary's record, he's lost. I think he's lost more than he's won. So I don't know. We'll see. But I'm not used to losing. Let's just say that. That's the only reason I bring that up. So
And when you're in that match, hopefully the ring rust doesn't show. You haven't been in the ring in ages, but I'm sure you would.
yeah, ring rust. Ring rust doesn't exist with Crusher. You should know that by
No, well,
now,
you are
Keaton.
5-time world champion, so I don't think the ring rust would show.
No, there'd be no such thing as ring rust. That doesn't exist in my vocabulary. I told you before, if I'm gonna come out and do a match again, I'm not gonna just walk into it as like some schmuck like Canary and just wing it. I will be prepared. Just like that's when you get the 5-time title, that's how it is. You got to prepare yourself for that kind of thing. And I know the Northern Ireland fans aren't going to like it, especially when I start throwing him around in that ring. I'm sure they're going to just be booing off the rafters. But you know what? That's just the way the rumble comes. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. Like I said, Keaton, remember this. There's winners and there's losers. I've been a winner, and I'm dealing with somebody who just lost not only to Nate Maddox, but lost I don't know how many times in Portugal. I don't think he won when he went on that little mini tour over there. So he's used to it, and he'll get more of the same. All right, here's a comment from Darren. Let's see what Darren says. 7 fingers on one hand. Let's just say 2 hands. Yeah, I can count in 2 hands. Yeah, he's right. 7 fingers on one hand. Yeah. And that's if I did it right. I mean, there might have been 1 or 2 more, but let's just say under 10. Yeah. And that's just because when you're booking it, you decide who wins and who loses. So that's the reality of it. So yeah, it looks like I don't know, Keaton. I don't think we're gonna see Wesley today. What do you think?
No, probably not. Do you think we should go and do a watch along here?
Well, we can try. Like I said, I went into this before and nothing came up. Let's see what happens when I go in. Why don't you?
Yes.
I'll let you do it and make you pick it because that
Okay.
way maybe it'll make a difference. Yeah, because I came into here and there was just nothing.
No, it doesn't seem like
Um,
there's anything there.
Let me see. Let's stay in here though because I'm gonna see if I can find it. Maybe Darren just forgot to put it in. Let me look at the layers. Let's see if there's anything in the. See if there's anything uploaded here. I see Ben Nelson. I see Kayfabe. I see Extreme. That's Disco Dom stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I
Oh,
don't.
Extreme Dwarfinator Tristan.
Right. Yeah, I don't see. Nothing's been uploaded even. So there is just no videos in here of the watch along. Wait a minute. What's this? There is something here. There is. It's just not in here. Let me bring this in.
So my name is Wesley James in
Is this
Silicon
it?
Valley. Born in Zambia, Kampala. Here I'm back. Over in
I'm gonna bring
England,
the audio
I'm
down a
a
bit.
personal trainer, civil servant, professional wrestler. And a
Is this
coach.
it, Keaton?
Yeah, this is it. This just shows a wee bit about who Wesley is, and
All right.
this is him on Gladiators.
Okay. So
He
he
done
was on
so
the
well on that. I was
Gladiators
watching
and
it
stuff.
yesterday.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, he got into the finals, so he did.
So he's got to be quite an athlete to be on this show.
100%. Yeah, even when I was
Yeah.
watching him, it wasn't even the strength that he was using. It was his speed, to get away from the Gladiators and everything. He's
Sure.
probably the best one I've seen on it.
Is he the guy in the red?
Yeah, he's the guy in the red.
Okay.
He's using tactics to get away from this guy. He's going so fast.
Yeah, I know. Like if he slips, he falls into the, off the grid.
And yeah, our last interview as well with Disco Dom, that was incredible. Well, if we'd done it, that would have been absolutely incredible. But fortunately, it was technical difficulties under.
Yeah, but you're going to reschedule that, I believe, right? The Disco Dom one.
Yeah, we're gonna get that rescheduled, but
Yeah.
it would have been a really good interview. But he was happy enough to reschedule any day after Christmas. He says, so that'll be good.
So this is some wrestling.
Yeah, so this guy here, he actually done a seminar in NIPW with the kids. He's called Saxon Huxley. He used to be in WWE, so he did. He's really good in the ring. He wrestles all over the indies. He's wrestled on NIPW and stuff. This is Wesley versus Saxon.
Nice cradle by Enserico.
He is 6'5", I think.
Unique style
Yeah.
that Enserico brings
Massive.
to rise.
Saxon Huxley.
Where was this taking place at?
It's a real
This
hybrid.
was this is a suppose a small
It's a bit
indie
world
wrestling
of
company called
sport.
Raise, and Wesley was the Raise champion.
And where's that located?
Saxon Huxley
I think it's somewhere in England,
immediately on the
so
back foot
In
with it.
England?
It's
Not
definitely
quite
in the
sure
UK.
what to
I would
make
say
of
England.
Yeah,
Enserico in the early going. These two
that's pretty cool.
don't believe have
Both
ever
of these
met
guys are really good.
one-on-one in
Saxon
Rise.
Huxley
They have
is like
encountered each other
a giant, but he
down
knows
the
all
road
all
at many
the
promotions in the
technical
UK.
wrestling moves, and Wesley, uses his
Rise
speed
is
and all
their
that. You can tell his
first
speed there.
one-on-one
Sure.
meeting
And then just speed in with his
Saxon
wrestling,
Huxley
and that makes it really
Enserico.
entertaining to watch. It's a pleasure to watch him wrestle.
Headlock now, Enserico meeting, who has known Saxon Huxley for a long, long time, as we all have. But over the last 12 months, we've been seeing a very different Saxon Huxley. Now part of the NXT UK family. I'm sure Saxon Huxley has grand designs of
Are you aware of
laying
Saxon
that
Huxley? No.
Rise World
I've heard the
Championship
name,
on the desk
so I'm
of
familiar.
Vince McMahon or Triple H at some point.
A leg clothesline.
Big kick by Enserico.
He's quite popular around the UK in British wrestling.
Outmaneuvering Saxon
Yeah.
Huxley. See that incredible, unique offense by Enserico that has kept Saxon
Like in the
Huxley on
commentary
the
here,
back
it's
foot.
getting you energized. The commentary, like this guy's commentary.
Mm-hmm.
And the Rise faithful coming alive.
Speaking of commentators, I know they were looking for commentators on NIPW. Did that ever happen?
Yeah, they've got some now. One guy is called Rory, and the other guy is Enzo, who used to be part of Titanic Wrestling.
Okay.
Now
They're
wearing
quite good, like,
down,
quite funny.
slowly wearing down Huxley.
Got a comment coming in
Whip
here, I think.
across the ropes they go, and Huxley
Yeah, I see that.
buries that knee.
It says
Deep,
from Eddie Molly, what did
deep
Saxon
into
teach
the
you
guts
junior
of
wrestling seminar, Keaton?
Enserico.
So he taught us a move which is more
Last
known in
time Enserico
British
was here
wrestling.
at the Temple
It's
of
called the
Boom.
Cobra Twist.
He took on
I think it's well known
CJ
around
Banks.
loads of different
And
places, but
it was an
well used in
electric
British wrestling, and he taught us how to do it. It was quite complicated. We had to range your balance well by twisting someone's leg and then doing sort of like a cross face while you're standing up. That's kind of the way it
One
looked
thing
like.
to knock off
But yeah,
CJ
that's what he
Banks,
taught
it's
me.
another to knock off this tower of a man.
Do you think
The
you could
muscle
remember it?
cat Jesus, that is Saxon
What is it?
I said, do you think you could remember the
Huxley
move?
now looking for a pump handle.
Not at all. No, it was
Into a
way too hard to
stomach
even
It's
breaker.
pretty
master.
hard.
To
Yeah.
a gut buster, I should say. Either way, it's breaking your stomach and busting your gut.
Did you never get, when you were with the NWF, did you never get any guys coming in to help you, like Otto?
No, we didn't have other than me going to Eddie Sharkey and then taking what I learned from him back to the guys. There was nothing like, there wasn't many indie feds out there to begin with, much less anybody training or showing you things or seminars. That kind of stuff. There's lots of that now, but that just wasn't happening back in the 80s. It was still the territory days were still kind of enforced.
Yeah, the AWA, would you call it an indie, or would you call it more like a professional?
Oh, AWA was one of the big leagues. So, you had we always call it the big three. You had the AWA, the WWF, and the NWA. Those were the big three in the 80s. And then you had a lot of regional territories like Memphis, WCCW, Mid-South, Portland. These were regional territories.
And I always like watching Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
Yes, Smoky Mountain, Jim Cornette. Yeah, that came after though. That was kind of a product of the late maybe the early '90s when Jim Cornette started doing that.
Yeah, it was quite good. I like the old style, the old intros and all. And I think there were some famous wrestlers on it. There was a young Hollywood Bob Holly.
Yeah. No, I think it was great, and I believe he had a deal with the WWF, or he could send people to them. Like a lot of his guys could go, it was a springboard. It's like an undercard, like NXT. It's kind of like the NXG before the NXG.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He made some famous wrestlers like Hollywood Bob Holly, who's known as Hardcore Holly in WWF, and then Kane, who was known as the Christmas Creature.
These two go jockeying for this suplex.
Yeah.
Whoever hits this suplex, it could be a game changer. And it's Huxley with the release.
Hard slam.
Yeah.
Sweet release. Could it be for Inserico?
So no, there just wasn't a lot. And even so, back in the 80s, like with Eddie Sharkey and Pro Wrestling America, which was an indie, there were very few indie promotions. Like, no, it was still like the regional territories were still going on, so there was that, but they were dying. But the indie feds, there was the only two I remember back then was Eddie Sharkey and Pro Wrestling America and Windy City out of Chicago. There just wasn't a lot. I don't know if there were, however, and especially if you go out west, where I'm at now, there's nothing out this direction.
What about years ago, the Von Reach?
That was a regional territory, WCCW. World Class. They used to be an affiliate of the NWA. They were part of the National Wrestling Alliance in the beginning.
Yeah, the reason I know that, the Iron Claw, that's the reason I know about that.
Yeah. Oh, Von Erichs is great. That was a great territory. A lot of people would go there to work. But yeah, like the territory days of yesteryear is kind of like what the indie feds are today. The indie feds have more or less taken over for the territories. Yeah. Just pretty cool.
I like watching the territory days, the AWA, Smoky Mountain Wrestling, them kind of things.
Yeah. I mean, AWA was the biggest geographically. It took up most of the country. But you would travel like when they do the travel, when they did the states out here, because AWA was here where I'm at now in Salt Lake City, Utah, they came here. But they would do Denver, they do Salt Lake, they do Phoenix, and they would have to travel each night like 8 hours to get from one town to the other. It's a lot of on the road driving. Miles and miles. 8-hour drives to get from one town to the next.
And this is in America?
Yeah, this is in America.
Where we live in Northern Ireland, it's literally a 2-hour drive to get to another country.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And I was shocked when I heard people from America have to go on planes just to get to different places.
Oh yeah,
unknown thing here.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, I would if I'm gonna go back to Minnesota, I'm gonna fly. I'm not gonna drive. It would take 2.5 days if I drove it. This is kind of like a mud wrestling ring.
Yeah, so obviously he's from Uganda, and this
so this is kind of how he started.
Yeah, but this is when he was getting more famous. They got him on, after Gladiators and stuff. They wanted to get a celebrity on.
Man, taking bumps in the mud, that's gonna hurt a bit.
Oh yeah. Look at them ropes.
That's not exactly a soft landing in there.
Man, look getting an Irish whip into one of them. An Irish whip into that wood.
Yeah, they got regular ropes for the roads, like kind of like NWF ring, but only without the mud.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I know.
It's amazing how they do that. I sometimes watch this mud wrestling and I heard, have you aware of the Maximum Male models?
Mm-mm.
They're a WWE tag team where they do model characters, but they're from Africa where they do that mud wrestling. And when they were released from WWE, they were the big stars that were coming on, and they were just wrestling in mud, in a tag team match.
Yeah. Jesus, they're doing German suplexes on this stuff. Jesus.
No, this is crazy.
You can break your neck.
He's probably not. I don't know. They can see by the reaction on him as well. Like, this is crazy.
Well, there's no give. There's absolutely no give on the mud. And you can hear it. You can hear it. I bet you they're getting, to say they had a headache would be the least of it.
And people moan about wrestling without padding.
Yeah, it's like there's no padding, there's nothing, and that mud is not going to be that forgiving.
Oh, and even banging into that wood still.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean, they're doing all the moves. They're just taking them on some rough conditions.
And I think this is like a proper indie company over in where that's based.
Do they still do it on the mud, or do they actually have a ring now?
They do it on the mud. Like, I think it's a culture kind of thing.
It's a culture?
I think too. They done this years ago, didn't they? Before wrestling got so popular.
I don't know. I don't remember. I knew there were mud wrestling, but I've never seen mud wrestling with the ropes and everything like this. It's crazy. Yeah, like Darren said, there'd be some interesting stories if Wesley ever came on to talk about all this.
Yeah, 100%. To hear about the mud wrestling, to hear about the pain that he was in, that'd be quite an interesting story. How the give was on that.
I wonder if we should maybe come out of this and save some of this for when he does come on, so we don't show all of it.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea.
Yeah, so we can that way we don't show everything, but yeah, that's just kind of a little bit of what we'll be seeing when he is able to come on. Gosh, that's and I thought we had it rough when we had our Fred Moore ring, and we had plenty of rings that didn't have any give, but I'm thinking of the Fred Moore ring was on concrete, which not fun either. But man, that you could hear their bodies hitting the mud. And I know I know how that's going to feel. So that had to be painful for him.
100%. Imagine bumping on that thing. Like, I don't think anyone could do that.
No, you can, but it's just not going to feel as nice. It's not going to be as nice as when you're in that, like when you're in your ring, when you're training at this dojo, like having a ring like that to land on versus that. There's a night and day difference. So, I always said though, and I'm sure it's the same for him, having in the NWF, having gone through rings that had no give whatsoever, and we were bumping on just nothing, that like no give, like it was hard surfaces, and we were doing some bumps on that toughens you up so that when you do get into a real ring, it's like riding a bike at 5 years old. It's like easy street. It's like, okay, this is great. Because you already took all that stuff on a hard ring, and now you're in this nice, very comfortable ring, and it's like it all comes natural then, gets you ready for when so I don't have any regrets not having a good ring, but it just toughened everybody up.
Nowadays, do you think you would have been allowed to, run a wrestling company at the age of 14?
Probably not with today's society. Although there are kids that try doing things like we did, but they're just, if you see that stuff on YouTube, there's no organization.
Backyard wrestling.
Yeah, whether it's backyard, even if it's or they'll do it and they just don't stay committed, and they do a couple shows and it's done. There's no
like
long-term commitment.
you wouldn't mind the backyard wrestling, where they're on the trampoline and they're doing their best and they're creating, ring ropes out of trampolines. But see the backyard wrestling in the 90s and the 80s where they were jumping off roofs. Kids at that age jumping off roofs because they thought they could copy Mick Foley,
Yeah.
and it just didn't work out well. At that point, that's where you should stop it. But if you're trying your best, in a trampoline and doing that kind of stuff, that's okay. But jumping off roofs and everything, that's just taking it too far.
No, and not only that, but when you do see the kids on, even if it's trampolines or backyard or whatever you want to call it, and they're just going through a lot of these kids are just going through the motions, wanting to just do the moves, and they're not creating any kind of storyline. They're not creating any kind of character development for themselves. A lot of them aren't. And it's like that's the difference between us and them too, because when we started out, even though we didn't have a ring, we were all about character development and creating rivalries. We called them rivalries. That was the word we used, rivalries. Which is basically just angles, right? Angles. Like we're gonna work an angle with you, and that's the terminology today, but we call it rivalries. We're gonna be in a rivalry with you for a while. We're gonna have matches, and we would create those interesting storylines and made our characters interesting, so people followed our characters more so than the actual wrestling. That's
And
what they're missing today.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's about. That's why WWE got so popular and NIPW is selling out more because of storylines. They want to see Nate Maddox versus the Canary Kid. There's some wrestlers, I'm not going to give names, but there's some wrestlers in NIPW that can't really wrestle, but their character is is like what carries them on, and that's probably the main thing. You don't always need to know how to wrestle. Your character kind of like makes you loved by the fans.
Yep, very true. Here's a comment from TZS Videos for both of us, Keaton. He says, "Who is the nicest famous wrestler you have both met?"
For me, I don't think you know this because you don't know much about women's wrestling. I don't think. But for me, it was Natalia. I went to a WWE show and we bought tickets, for a meet and greet before it. And Natalia was such a nice woman. She's one of the nicest women I've ever, one of the nicest female wrestlers, female women I've ever met in my life. For a female wrestler to get on like that, to be so kind is very rare. The, for getting photos, it'll just be, if they want money, it'll just be, come on, take a photo, go, so then they can get it over and done with. But she wanted to talk to me. She was having a nice conversation. It wasn't all about the money for her, if you know what I mean. And
Mm-hmm.
she's related to Bret Hart. She's Bret Hart's niece.
Oh, cool. And so, yeah, that's pretty cool. So that was the nicest one that you met that you can think of. I didn't meet a lot of guys in wrestling during the NWF. I was just busy running it and stuff. And but afterwards, when I wrote my book and documentary, we did a fan fest in Maryland, and we got a booth there to promote the book and documentary and everything. And I met a lot of wrestlers at that. And of those wrestlers I met, the nicest one that I remember of that group, like we were right next to Abdullah the Butcher, for instance. Our booth was next to Abdullah the Butcher. We're talking about a booth to be next to. But that, Abdullah was actually a really nice guy, but he's not the nicest that I met. But he liked us. He took a liking to us. And I remember we got our picture with Abdullah free of charge. Other wrestlers would come up,
He was
and
never like
Abdullah,
that.
no, other wrestlers would come up, and even if they were wrestlers, Abdullah would still charge them $10 if they wanted a picture with him.
Even wrestlers that he's already
Even
faced.
other wrestlers, yeah, it was crazy. So, anyways, the nicest though, believe it or not, was King Kong Bundy. He was super nice, and he was very interested in our story, and he was the nicest. He was very inquisitive, like he was curious how we got started and everything. So he was pretty cool.
And when you talk about this booth, what was that like a WrestleCon or something, like
yeah, it's a fan,
like a Comic-Con?
They call it a fan fest, but yeah, kind of like a Comic-Con for wrestling. Bobby Heenan was there, Nick Bockwinkel, Jim Cornette, and I met all these guys. Rick Martel, Bret Hart was there. There was just a lot of them. I was in Washington, D.C. area, Maryland, and so it was, like I said, we got a booth because we wanted to have a booth at this to help promote the book and documentary, and that was we had went to this one. Me and Charlie went. So And Charlie, of course, a big guy today. He's huge. He looks like he should be in the ring. And people were, obviously interested in talking with him. Jim Cornette wanted to sign him at the time. He was so big. He's like, I
Was he
could use
joking
you
or?
right now. Well, jokingly, but he's like, I could use you right now. And it was back when he was affiliated with TNA. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, it was pretty cool. It's pretty cool stuff.
And for his size, I think he'd still be a great wrestler to this day.
Who's that?
Charlie.
Oh, Lane? Yeah, Luxury. He would. He's definitely got the body for it. But, with the thing with me and Lane, and we're going to have Charlie on here. I think we're trying to maybe look at February 9th. He's going to come on as a guest on your show. And the thing with Luxury, though, he could never beat Crusher Keaton. Just remember that. As good and as big and massive as he is, he could never beat Crusher. So.
Do you think because of his size you could hit a drop kick perfectly?
Oh, I could hit him with a drop kick. I don't know if it would do anything to him. Look at.
Could you get the hit?
Oh no, like back then for sure. But I'm talking today. Lane is a monster. He's big. He's huge. He's I look up to him today. But it wasn't like that when we were kids. But he is. He's a big guy. Luxury is. And just like his dad, he's taken his. He's definitely following the footsteps of his dad back when because his dad was a big guy. And you know who Charlie looks like today? He looks like Jesse the Body Ventura. He has that look. Back when Jesse was younger.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah. So in fact, I think people thought he was Jesse back then because he looked like him back then with the bald. Because there was a time when Jesse had a completely bald head too.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, people were definitely, Charlie, he was a character. It'll be a good interview when we have him on.
Just from watching, I think it's from watching NWF Rewind, or maybe some of the matches, the matches that you post that are for free. It might have been one of them I was watching, and him on the mic is absolutely incredible. The way he would speak on the mic.
Yeah, he was funny. He had the gift of gab. He didn't need a script. Yeah, that was his character. It was all about his character. And of course, in those days with Charlie, when it was the early primitive days, nobody was watching us for wrestling quality. They were entertained with our characters and how we were on the mic and how we trash talked each other and this and that. And that's where Charlie was better than anybody. He could definitely have the gift of gab. No doubt about that. Kind of like Canary. He's a better talker than he is in the ring because in the ring he runs. That's just it, Keaton. When I get in there, how am I going to catch him? Like the bird just flies everywhere, and he's going to be flying away from me so fast to make all of your fans' heads spin in that dojo when he runs away.
Well, like Ben said, he said they just have to put him in a chain.
Yeah, a chain or a bull rope. Yeah, that's about the only way. And I was even saying too, Keaton, I would put maybe I do a proper NWF retirement match, or I lose the belt. Could you imagine me losing my NWF title to the Canary Kid?
The history of that belt goes down.
He doesn't deserve to get that belt, Keaton. I could never have that.
Well, imagine if that was too much to put on the line, there could be an NWF forward belt. Where's a battle royal? All the guys that you've ever got on, see who wins the NWF forward belt.
Yeah, battle royal. Have they ever done a battle royal at the dojo?
Yeah, loads of times. They do it once every year. For Halloween they call it the Monster Mash Battle Royal.
Gosh, how can they get all those guys in that small ring though?
The ring isn't as small as it looks. Like when you're in it, it's not as small as it looks. And
yeah.
then, oh wait, what am I talking about? Sorry, the Monster Mash is sort of like a Royal Rumble, so they wouldn't put them all in.
So they don't go all in at the same time.
They maybe put about 5 in, then one would get eliminated, another one would come in.
Yeah. Is that fun? Do you like watching the battle? Have they ever done like an outright battle royal? Like maybe at a bigger show?
No, never done that before. Oh, once actually, yeah, they've done it once. Where I think it was actually Ben Nelson's debut. He wasn't in his own Dead Gorgeous character. He was just kind of like a extra because he was still learning at the time. And they're all dressed up in their suits. Chris Mercer, remember Chris Mercer, who he interviewed? He was dressed up as Michael Myers because of his size, how tall he was. The referee Jolene was dressed up as someone. I can't remember who. I think he was just himself. And then Ben Nelson was dressed up as a football. What do they call it over there? Soccer. Like a soccer player.
Yeah.
And he was dressed up as a soccer player. That was his debut, and the
So
winner of the match was Michael Myers, Chris Mercer.
speaking of Chris Mercer, is what's happening with him lately? Is he wrestling? Like I don't know if I've seen him as much lately.
I think he took a break for a couple of months because he was just away for a couple of months, but he's back at our next show, in 2025,
Okay.
for the new year. He's facing, if you see, Mitch Baxter,
Yeah.
um, his client, Samson Law. He'll
Samson
be.
Law, yeah.
It's going to be Samson Law versus Chris Mercer for the Resolution Championship.
And I haven't heard much about Halfdan lately. What's going on with him?
Well, he has just lost the championship at 2 shows ago with the DD Crooks.
Yeah.
DD Crooks is the new NXT Junior Heavyweight Champion. So he's just going through, just to wrestle different people. And he's in the last match, he's facing our next guest, Stevie Fee.
It's interesting. Speaking of Halfdan, is the Viking, right? I don't know if we ever talked about it on this show, but I know I talked about it on my Rewind show, I think. But 25% of Crusher Crossen is unknown in my heritage, because my dad's dad, my grandpa, was left on a doorstep, back in the day, and that was a common thing. I know it sounds kind of strange, but back in those days, that would happen. People, if they had maybe a child out of wedlock or something, they would just leave the child with somebody else, and that was the mayor in this case. So my grandpa was left on the mayor's doorstep. Anyways, we don't know what his heritage was, so there was some DNA testing that some of my family members done, and it turns out Crusher Crossen's 25% happens to be from English, Irish, and Dutch. So I do have a little bit of Irish in my blood. And with Irish and Dutch, yes, and Irish and Dutch and English means I could be a Viking myself. So the real Viking, Crusher Crossen, comes sailing in. How about that?
So is this a call out to Halfdan?
Look, Halfdan, I don't care any of those schmucks, but it's Canary. It's Canary. He's the one that needs to be taught the lesson, right?
Well, Canary and Halfdan obviously have some bad blood. Halfdan has defeated the Canary Kid for the NXT Junior Heavyweight Championship. He's now lost the championship. Crusher, who's Dutch, who's like some part Dutch, like 29% Dutch, can use the Viking character. The two Vikings, Halfdan and you, Crusher the Viking, versus John McCann and the Canary Kid next level. That would just be another way for you to get your hands on the Canary Kid.
Yeah, that's the only time Canary will ever think of getting in the ring with me, though, is when I'm with a partner, because then he can have the other guy carry the match, like John would carry the Canary. But you know something? Next level, they would be leveled if they got in the ring with me and Halfdan, or anybody else for that matter.
Well, you may think that Canary Kid's maybe of a Tweety Pie, but when he's in that ring with John McCann, there's no stopping John McCann or the Canary Kid when they're with each other. So maybe you'd beat the Canary Kid in a singles match. There's a possibility, but there's no way you'd beat the Canary Kid with next level and the NIPW fans and what's themselves.
Well, I hate to burst your bubble here, Keaton, but they've never faced me or anybody else. And when I come rolling in, next level, it comes to an end, and there would be no more level. We'll talk about that next Friday, Keaton, when I'm with Ricky. We'll talk about next level. But you know what, John? I have no problem with John, because John says he'd get in the ring with Crusher, just like Ben. So he's not they're not cowards, Ben and John. They're a wrestler's wrestler. But Canary Kid is not in that mix. I hate to say it, Northern Ireland fans. You're cheering a coward.
I'd really watch what I'm saying here. He's one of the most popular guys in NIPW.
I know, and I'm just ruffling the feathers, as they say, right?
Thankfully, there's not much people watching this live. Some of the NIPW fans, if you came over to NIPW, I'd really watch my back if I were you.
Canary says that he doesn't want to get in the ring with me because he doesn't want to beat up an old man, as he puts it. But really, the reality is he's just, it's not. It's he. I got to get a new T-shirt, Keaton. Fear the Fiver, and that's what Canary Kid needs to wear. Fear the Fiver. So, and by the way,
fear.
Yeah,
Darren Whiteside comes in with a comment here. Sounds like you fear the Irish grappler,
the Irish
and
grappler.
I'm not saying he's wrong.
Oh no, I don't fear. I would love to have a match with John McCann. I think that would be a great match. And I don't know. John's definitely polished. There's no doubt about that. And you know, I'd have my hands full with him. That's for damn sure. But um, and then I'd have to worry about Canary Kid running in and sabotaging the match, and doing what he does best and interfere and cost me it. So it's like there's that. But that see, there's lots to. You're right. I got to watch my back. You're right, Keaton. That's just it. Maybe I bring the real Irish wrestler, the Irish Terror, Jamie McParland, with me when I come to Northern Ireland. He said he wants to see if I ever got in the ring, he wants to be there. Then I have
Oh, that
somebody
wouldn't be
watching my
bad.
back.
That'd actually be good. The Irish grappler versus the Irish Terror.
I don't know if Jamie can do it though. You got to remember, Keaton, our day was 40 years ago, so it
He
would
didn't
be
land a bad
tough.
drop kick.
What's that?
He didn't land a bad drop kick, like a basement drop kick. I've seen his drop
Yeah,
kicks.
yeah, he did that kangaroo kick style. He would do his drop kick like that. Yeah. I'm not a fan of doing it that way. I like doing the twist and the keeping the feet together. By the way, Ricky I don't know, you've probably seen it, but Ricky says he's really got his drop kick down good now. He's keeping his feet tight and everything.
Yeah, it is getting
Have you
better.
seen it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's getting good. That's the thing, Keaton. When you do the drop kick, when you start, I don't know if you've been learning it yet, but the trick is you got to keep your feet tightly clasped. Do not let it get spread out and look sloppy and garbage. It's got to look nice and clean. You keep your feet really tight together, and when you get up and you turn and you kick, your feet stay together, locked together the whole time. That's a
Well,
good drop kick.
and that does sound right, But we've been trying to learn drop kicks at NIPW. I've got the height to do it, but I can't really. I'm still struggling to kick out, and do it properly. But
You need to
and
get
I know
your
how to
legs together.
bump properly, keeping it tucked and kicking out. But I'm getting better at it. Like,
Yeah, if you do the twist right, you'll end up landing on your stomach. Is how you do it. You twist through it, and you land on your stomach.
yeah.
Kind of your chest
Well,
and your stomach.
I'm doing a bit of landing, but it's just the trust fall, of trying to doing all the things at once, kicking and then worrying about if you fall on your back after it and get winded with that kind of thing.
Oh, you're talking about doing it the kangaroo style, just doing the back bump drop kick where you
Yeah,
land on your back.
that would
Yeah.
stop the fear, but still probably be more dangerous if you were just landing right on your back.
Yeah, I mean it's just they're two different type of drop kicks. Like I said, some people like doing that kangaroo kick, or we called it a bunny kick. Same thing though.
Yeah.
What's Darren got
Well,
another comment?
yeah. He says you need to watch out for the secret weapons on the front row. These preteens are mad. He's
Trainees
not
are
wrong.
mad. So the front row is pretty much the junior trainers.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't like it if I stepped on the canary coat. If I made the canary kid start squeaking in that ring, I don't think.
Yeah. And in the front row are most of the time in the front row the Canary Kids family are sitting there, and I don't think that they would like if they saw you destroying the Canary Kid in a professional wrestling match.
You know what it is? I think Canary's just afraid he's going to get embarrassed in front of his own friends and family and everything, and he's just embarrassed. He doesn't want to go through the embarrassment, so he keeps up making all these excuses why he can't do the match. That sounds like, you ever hear of the term Occam's razor?
No.
Well, what that means is, it's a long explanation, but basically what it means is, all things considered equal, generally the simplest explanation tends to be correct. Now, what's more simpler here? The Canary Kid is worried about my health and worried about the fact that I'm too old and doesn't want to, do this and is not going to have the match, or he's just afraid he's going to get embarrassed. Look, I'd say the latter. That seems to be the simplest explanation. Canary's just afraid, just scared.
Well, I wouldn't say you're wrong, I suppose.
See, I finally convinced Wrestling Revolution Keaton, everybody. Well, we've been yapping away for about an hour. I suppose we should wrap the show up, huh? Keaton, it looks like Wesley's going to make this one. So maybe we'll just have to see what happens if he can tune in on the next one.
Yeah, but I'm sure he was quite nice enough. He has a busy schedule, which is understandable, but he'll definitely agree to other times. I'm sure he will. But this was a great chat, seeing the return of Crusher Crossen.
Yeah, Crusher Crossen back, and you have to go off script a little bit. I know you had a whole bunch of questions lined up that weren't going to work for me,
Yeah.
so it's good to see. And what I like about this is it brings out Keaton a little bit. We get to hear your actual thoughts without it being in a question format, so it gets to show you a little bit more too.
Yeah. So I suppose this was just Kayfabe with Keaton chat. I suppose the return of Crusher Crossen.
Yeah, and by the way, guys, on a future forward show, I don't know when, we plan to have Wrestling Revolution Keaton back with us again. So you'll be coming on one of our forward shows on a Friday night, one of these
That'll be good.
nights. Yeah, down sometime next year, which sounds strange saying that, but it's only a few days away. So
I suppose I was an unofficial forward guest because I was there before you done the forward on the rewind. But it'll
yep,
be good to finally be on forward.
you were our second guest after Sub Force Arnie. Which, by the way, I was watching some videos of those guys. Sub Force is taking a break a little bit right now.
Right.
But his other guy that he wrestled, one of his friends that, there was three amigos, the three of them that were really close that were training. And the one guy's name's Reggie, Nighthawk.
Oh, I've seen this guy.
Yeah, he's doing moonsaults. He's actually got moonsaults down. Can you believe it?
I know some people can't even do moonsaults like professional wrestlers. Shows how well they're trained.
Yeah, he did one on a crash mat pad and it perfectly off the top rope. I just seen the video the other day.
This is the one with the dreadlocks, isn't it?
Yeah, with the dreadlocks. Yep.
I know, I've seen him before. He's very good. Him and Subforce Arnie are incredible.
Yeah, I would love to get Reggie on. We were scheduled to have him, the three of them, Subforce Arnie, Reggie, and Lieutenant Louie all come on, but then Subforce ended up taking a break, and I lost the contacts with Reggie. I know that Reggie was going to come, wants to come on. I just got to find out how to get a hold of him because he doesn't have a YouTube channel or anything. So if I can get a hold of him, I'll bring him on. I'd love to see what he's all about. Learn more about what they're doing in that slam wrestling in the UK.
That's incredible to watch. I came across it before I even knew about NWF Rewind, and I was watching it just in amaze how kids could do that kind of thing.
Yeah, and they start out super young, like 6, 7 years old in some cases. So real young.
Yeah.
And they don't. They kind of move along, pretty well. They're like doing some, superplexes and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what's this, Mighty Molly?
Great. Yeah, I've got a quick comment coming in here from Mighty Molly. We'll just get to this now. Keaton, before you go, what should we expect from your guest on Monday? What a name, Suplexist. What's behind that name? Well, that's two questions there. And so what should we expect from your guest on Monday? Well, Redmond was one of the most fun-loving guys, from the Hallions. As when I got Mohan on, one of his tag team partners, and he was known from the Hallions. One of the most fun-loving guys. But after Magalo Luxown has hypnotized Redmond, we're seeing a full different Redmond, a full different character, in Redmond, and it will be great to talk to him, nonetheless. But thankfully, I'm behind the screen here, and I'm protected, from being near Redmond, who is now becoming the Suplexorcist. So the answer to that question is kind of already answered. The Exorcist, one of the most scariest movies of all time, and I would call him the Exorcist. He's just as scary as the Exorcist, and he loves doing suplexes. So that move suits perfect for him. That name, the Suplexorcist. So that'll be great to have him on. And on next week, we'll have coming on.
So me, my name is
wrong
Wesley
thing.
James instead of Kamale.
Uh,
Born in Zambia, Kampala.
the fabulous Stevie Fee, the ultimate
Stevie
Smick,
Fee.
who has a relative of Damage Mondale's, one of the greatest wrestlers.
The ultimate schmick. You know what
Yeah.
Canary would call him? The ultimate
What?
schmuck. Because he loves using that word for some reason. I wouldn't call Stevie Fee the schmuck, though. I'm not going to be that disrespectful like the Canary. No, I'm looking forward to this interview, and I should be on this show, Keaton. I should be. I won't be on the Monday show, but I should be on this one on January 5th. So.
But yeah, Stevie Fee's doing very well for himself. Even in NWF, he's doing amazing, and I've seen some really good matches from him. But even now he's touring across LDN. Nick and his uncle done, he toured across Britain for World of Sport, but Stevie Fee's doing well for himself on the indie scene and is LDN's most fabulous breakout star. He won the breakout star of the year. Only a year in of wrestling, he's won the Damage Shandell Memorial 2024 Cup. Absolute legend to talk to. A really nice guy. legend in and outside of the ring, and he's only a year begun. Probably one of NIPW's very best, and it'll be great to talk to him as well.
Yeah, and you know, like all those NIPW guys did real well representing NIPW at the latest Portugal show as well. You
Oh
know,
yeah,
that
that
little
was
mini
great to
tour
watch.
they just did. Yeah.
And
So
we've got one last question coming in here from Mary Molly. I'll just answer it quick here. She says, "What is a smick?" You aware
yeah,
of that? What that means, Crusher?
no, I don't know what it means.
It's a word used over here in Northern Ireland. So the people from I suppose the poor countries and the poor areas, who would talk a lot, wouldn't talk as much as polite as some other people. And Stevie Fee, um, is one of them people who wouldn't talk as polite as most people. He's just downright down the earth guy, and that's exactly what a smick means. So that's why Stevie Fee is named the ultimate smick.
It means somebody who just tells it like it is.
Yeah.
Doesn't sugarcoat anything.
Nope.
Now this is the kind of guy I need to talk to because I've been dealing with people that just talk out of both sides of their mouth, like Ricky. So yes, I'm looking forward to this. This is going to be a great show. And yes, it's been the return of the OG CRUSH, as I will say, in the words of Ricky. He always seems to like to say OG BRID. Well, OG CRUSH. Take that, right? So yeah, I'm looking forward to it though. Like I said, won't be there tomorrow, but I should be there in a week from today. So
That'll be good to see you there then.
then of course Friday I don't have a graphic or nothing for it, but this coming Friday at 10 p.m. Ireland time, make sure to join us on the NWF channel we'll have me and Ricky will be on as usual, and we'll also have Ben Nelson and John McCann with us. So it should be a
All the
great show.
NIPW young guys.
The NIPW invasion.
Mm.
Yep. At least, it's going to be hard to say. I'm sure John will be trying to be respectful to everybody. He's not gonna diss me, but he won't be dissing Ricky either. But Ben and I, we could be a tag team for that matter. Ben even said team up with him. He even proposed him teaming up, me and Ben teaming up.
That wouldn't be a bad match. Ben Nelson and Crusher Crossen versus Next Level.
Yeah. Like I said, it would be the end of the level. There would be no more leveling up for Next Level. Their reign would end that night. So yeah, it's been a good show. So again, like Keaton said, tomorrow. What time is it tomorrow, Keaton?
It'll be for Stevie Fee. I have to get the graphic up here.
No, Stevie Fee is in a week, but tomorrow is
for Redmond tomorrow night.
Raymond.
Let me just get it up here. Tomorrow night it's 11 p.m. Eastern. And no, sorry, 11 PST and 12 Eastern, and it'll be 17. 17 p.m. 7 o'clock for us in Northern Ireland time, UK. Sorry,
back to this. So yeah, so it's 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. Will be is when you're going to be on. All right, so we'll see you guys. Keaton will see you tomorrow with his guest, and I will be back with Keaton in a week, and we'll be back also on Friday night on NWF channel as well. All right. See you guys. I hope you have a good show tomorrow then, Keaton.
Thank you. Bye.